Welcome to That American Football Show, powered by EP Sports. EP Sports is one of the top suppliers in the UK for all your NFL merchandise. Check them out today at epsports.co.uk. Just a reminder that from wherever you are listening to, if you do like us, please give us a like and a follow or subscribe or whatever it is you're listening on. It really does help us out. Little shout out to us. We just hit our 100th subscriber on YouTube. So thank you everyone for getting on that. We really do appreciate it. Props to Craig because he pushes out most of those videos as well, even though he's not on with us today. But yeah, what a weekend of football. The Titans have been toppled in Hamburg, and one team has actually locked themselves into the playoffs now. All of that and more though, after a bit of news. So I feel like I keep saying this for this team. Barcelona Dragons D-line coach this time round, Marcel Frazier, is left to go coach college ball in the US. It seemed like a pretty mutual part in between the two teams. I think that he was like cheering them on Twitter for the game. But yeah, it's interesting because I feel like they've lost nearly everyone in that team coach-wise, and they just had to replace from externally.
Yeah, it seems to, Barcelona, it just seems as if one person goes out the door and they seem to be getting better and better. It doesn't seem to be hindering them much. So it's, as you say, it was a mutual agreement. That means Barcelona, we can see they know what they're doing. And obviously it's quite nice for him to go coach in America as well.
Yeah, I don't know, given it's a new league and it's the first year, that maybe that was kind of almost the plan, is to get American coaches in to mentor like the local coaches, European coaches, and then if they were offered an opportunity to go back home to America, I forgot the word for it. The replacement's already there in place. So
yeah, because you can imagine there's a lot of coaches who maybe aren't getting the experience they want in maybe they're a linebacker coach, but they want to be a defensive coordinator. They go and crack at it in the EFL. If they do well, they get a job back in college ball. See you later.
Yeah,
which is fair.
Yeah, it's part of. I mean, if we're looking for the ELF to develop players, may as well develop some good coaches from it as well. Also, a bit of news to do with the Panthers, the Wroclaw Panthers. Mark Herndon, who's been the running back, he's had a couple of good weeks with them. He is leaving the team. I'm not sure if it was it a release or was it as he requested to leave?
I don't know. It just said released, but it seemed to be on good terms.
And in turn, they've signed another import from America, TCU receiver Covonte Turpin, which is up there for one of the better football names. And American Football International have also said the Panthers have signed former Montreal Alouette William James, who is, I don't know what you've written there. Oh, Alouette, the pronunciation. Thank you, mate. Yeah, Eli linebacker William James. So Panthers have been on a little bit of a slide down recently. Is this going to kind of pump that defense and offense back up to where it needs to be?
Could be. They need to change something because, as you say, they're on a bit of a slippery slope at the moment at the worst time. So they need something to work. Yeah,
because definitely they look like the stone cold third seed, and now other teams are catching them. They might not even make the playoffs now.
We all locked him in at third, and then he thinks the only one we all agreed on, and they've just gone instantly downhill. We need to all think the Eagles are really bad so we can get them up there.
Oh, you wait till you see my predictions, Adam, for next year for the Eagles. I'm sure we'll get that ball rolling nice and easy.
Speaking of NFL as well, we are going to get a giveaway out soon. So if you're a fan of the NFL, keep an eye out on the social medias because that'll be cropping up thanks to EP Sports. But we'll get into the games this weekend. First one of the week was it was the highest scoring game in ELF history. Isn't much to say, but it was a bloody high scoring game. Barcelona Dragons went to play the Cologne Centurions.
Riley, the center. Weinreich, long ball, lots of air under it. And it is caught because it hasn't been such a factor as we might have imagined, but the Dragons are actually missing 9 players, of which a number of starters, as this is another catch and a long run and perhaps a touchdown for the Frenchman. Emi Bertalon, touchdown Dragons. Force, and indeed it's 6 yards yet to go. Edwards keeps it himself, and he's off to the races. This will put the nail in the coffin. Well, fitting, Zach Edwards.
Yeah, like I said, highest scoring game so far. Dragons just edged out Cologne in a big shootout. I mean, if you watch the highlights, there is some defensive highlights, but there's a hell of a lot of offensive highlights. So it was a really good game to watch. It's between two teams that are both kind of, as Tim always says, the resurgent Dragons. And Cologne have obviously been making a name for themselves up there with trying to get into the upper echelon. Some players didn't come here due to illness. A notable one was Dragons kicker George Tobaccio, which you'll see makes a notable impact in this game. So first quarter started off with Cologne kind of dunking their way down the field. Madrid London gets a short yardage run for 6 points. PAT was blocked by Nico Lester. Madrid London did start out quite slow in this game. But Barcelona would respond pretty quickly with a nice flea flicker, which is one of my favourite plays to watch. And it went from Zach Edwards to Bertolin. I think like Bertolin to the 4-yard line, which a quick pass to Torredadia for the touchdown. But they got the PAT 7-6. Cologne would then have a quick 3 and out. And then there was some really good defensive plays and special teams play for the Dragons. And Quentin Pounds got stopped really early on the return. So it showed you they were doing well because Pounds is a quality returner. But Gene Constant then returned the ball to the 25-yard line for the Dragons. And Zach Edwards would again hit Torredadia for his second touchdown. And that was after a delayed game call, so it was quite a long one. And that's 13-6 to the Dragons. So Dragons would stop another good return. Another return by Quentin Pounds. But this drive, Pounds did go off, catching from Weinreich. Going into the second quarter, there'd be a really long pass down to the touchdown to Quentin Pounds. But the 2-point attempt was stopped. Dragons took the ball again. Bertolin, whose name I'll say a lot, got a really deep sideline catch on the next drive and took it down to the 5-yard line where Jimenez, I think, would run it in for the touchdown after 2 penalties. Cologne would then punt again. Dragons turnover on downs, followed by another punt by Cologne. Dragons would then get the ball on the 16-yard line, their own 16-yard line. And I showed you all boys a video of that receiver getting walloped, and he took a brutal hit, but he kept the ball. Good man. Samuel Anstey, who retained possession, and then the next pass was beautiful to Gene Constant, right over the shoulder, perfectly placed by Zach Edwards, and took it down to the red zone, and he would then take in a jet sweep for the touchdown, making it 26-12 at this point. Timon Davies would then intercept the Centurions on their next drive, which iced it for the half. Going into the second half of the game, Zach Edwards would rip out an 80-yard touchdown pass to Bertolin, who just outsped all the Centurions defense, which they were pretty poor early on in the season. They got better, but there's still some weaknesses there. And Cologne, it was 33-12 at this point, so Cologne really needed to get some points on the board. But then Weinreich fumbled and Fernandez recovered. But the Dragons did then turn this over on downs. Quentin Pounds at this point had gone out with injury, which is really bad for Cologne because he's an outstanding receiver to Madrid London. So Weinreich was relying on pass catchers like Lenhart and Arras to get up the field. And there was a 4th and 28 from the end zone. And Weinreich scrambled in for the touchdown, hit the pilot. It was a great run. PT was no good again, though. Cologne defense then really ramped up a bit and forced a quick 3 and out. Madrid London, who had been kept quiet up until this point, then started churning out some big runs, got his second touchdown on the day. Cologne defense keep that pressure up and they forced a second 3 and out. And Madrid London again would have a huge run up the middle for his 3rd touchdown on the next drive. And the 2-point attempt was good. So it's 33-31. They brought it back pretty quickly off the back of Madrid. I know I'm talking a lot, but this game had so much content. The Centurions then forced a 4th punt in a row against Barcelona, and Madrid would bring the Centurions back to the red zone, going early into the 4th now. Wide receiver for Centurions, Lawks, had a really nice catch in the end zone to put the Centurions up 37-33 after the field goal was no good. Sorry, PAT. So Dragons not been down since, but they're finally down in the game. Offense really steps up again. So Zach Edwards, Bertolini, and Constant made their way up the field. 6-yard pass to Samuel Answer put the Dragons back on top, 39-37. Cologne would then have a 3-play drive. These are the 3 plays. 80-yard run by London, 5-yard touchdown by London, 2-point conversion by London. So London was doing a lot in the second half for the Centurions. So it's 45-30. So London for the PAT, 45-39 to the Centurions. Back-to-back punts again by both teams, including a muffed punt and a big sack on Weinreich. And then Zach Edwards had a really big scramble into the end zone, putting the Dragons back up 46-45. PAT's no good. Centurions would struggle to get anything going the next drive, and they turned it over. Barcelona made their way up the field. Big roughing the passer call on Zach Edwards. So put the Dragons in the red zone, and Jimenez would run in, putting the game 53-45. Cologne would then get back up the field, touchdown by Lenhart, 53-51 to the Dragons. Cologne needed to get the ball back. But interestingly enough, the Dragons did an onside kick. Don't know why. Offset and penalties cancelled it. And then they did another onside kick. And then the penalty was against Centurions. So the Barcelona got the ball pretty quickly up the field. Edwards would scramble in for his second rushing touchdown of the game, make it 60-51. And then Weinreich was sacked to take the game to its end. So a lot of huge stats in this game. I'll give you a couple of them. So Matt MVP, so Chio MVP as well. Zach Edwards, he had a crazy stat line. 20 passes on 45 attempts, 454 yards passing, 4 touchdowns thrown, 45 yards rushing, and 2 running touchdowns. Honourable mentions, Madre London, who ran 290 yards for 4 touchdowns on 35 carries. And Bertolini looked at his stat line at the end, 8 catches, 271 yards. Nuts. But yeah, really, really fun game to watch if you like the offense, and both my favourite teams, so I had a cracking time watching it.
Yeah, that final Zach Edwards touchdown was like, mate, the atmosphere there. I know we always talk about Barcelona, but I think for me that was the best.
Yeah,
like just watching it through the streaming, you could feel and hear that atmosphere really going off when that last touchdown went in. Barcelona fans were going nuts. I saw people hugging each other in the crowd. It was crazy.
Yeah, it looked like a mental game, as you said. The crowd was going nuts. There's some clips on Twitter of the Spanish commentary of it as well.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, so the Dragons go on to play the Stuttgart Surge, which is a week 1 rematch for them, where they narrowly got edged out, and the Cologne Centurions go on to a bye week.
Just out of curiosity, was this the first week where Gene Constant wasn't Zach Edwards' highest receiver?
Yeah, he had less than 100 yards, so crazy game. Watch the highlights because you'll see it. Well, it's a shame Quinton Pounds got injured because it had a chance to have 3 massive receivers in there.
I think it shows when you look at the Dragons, a lot of people think, it's Edwards to Constant, but it just shows that it's not. They have got these different tactics that they can use.
He threw 2 touchdowns to Torredadia as well.
Exactly.
I'm saying it. Cadell said it. Zach Edwards is the best quarterback in the EFL. Second game though, Hamburg Sea. So this was the big match. I won it. Hamburg Sea Devils versus Frankfurt Galaxy.
Solu Cisse taking over for Clark, and that's why you have some trouble with the rain. The snap is picked up by the linebacker and taken all the way for the touchdown. Sebastian Silva Gomez scores for the Galaxy. Sullivan takes the handoff. Tries to get it to Schwartz in the end zone. Did he get his feet down and bounce? Yes, he did. Extend the lead, bringing it on. And the Galaxy. Here. Snapback kick on the way. And oh, that looks beautiful. As Anderson's field goal is through and true. Anderson, the man from Denmark. And the kick on the way is good.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched this one. Sunday saw the clash of the two best teams in the EFL, the undefeated Hamburg Sea Devils and the 5-1 Frankfurt Galaxy. Again, this was a repeat of the week 1 matchup that Hamburg won very close. Again, good crowd for this game, even in the bad weather. The stadium, it looked like they were only using one side of the field because the stand was pretty full, so it was a pretty decent crowd. But this game didn't go the way everyone predicted it would go. From the opening kickoff, Frankfurt drove the ball on an 11-play, 75-yard drive to score the opening touchdown, a 21-yard pass from Jacob Sullivan to Mwamba. Hamburg could only he couldn't do much on offense, to be honest with you. The next 4 drives resulted in just 2 field goals from Anderson, who's been the best kicker in the league, the most consistent guy for the season. Frankfurt, meanwhile, they had no problem moving the ball at all. They took 14-3 lead into the second quarter with a 28-yard pass from Sullivan to Mahogany. Galaxy then blew the game away in the middle of the second quarter. Sullivan scored on a 1-yard run after a nice 75-yard drive. Like I say, all their drives were really long. It was really nice to watch. But then Cisse, who had come on for Jadrian Clark, he fumbled, and Sebastian Silva Gomez returned the ball 38 yards for a touchdown. This meant the halftime score was 27-6, and you could see the Hamburg's players were dejected, and they just looked beat up. So the problem they had as well, they also lost the leading sacker of the league, Jean-Philippe Bombeck, to injury. And it looked pretty bad one because he had to have 2 players to carry him off the field. So I don't know how long he's going to be out. It's a big loss for them. And Hamburg, again, I said, had an odd strategy of bringing Clark off the field to Cisse, but it wasn't position specific. It wasn't like it was short yardages because Cisse looks like he's a better runner than Clark. They just seemed to be bringing him on and off and not sure what they were doing. And that really can't help an offense if you're constantly changing your quarterback and it's not planned. Then Sullivan threw another touchdown pass then, take the score to 33-6. Bad snap on a punt, gifted a 2-pointer to Frankfurt, and another Anderson field goal. That was all scored for the day. Frankfurt actually brought in the backups early in the fourth quarter, so they knew the game was over by then. It finished a very impressive all-round performance. As I say, injuries and inconsistency, they seem to be affecting the Sea Devils. A lot of players are playing banged up, so they don't have a bye week now until the last week of the season. But looking at the start of the season, everyone thought, oh, look at that. It's been set up Hamburg to have a nice bye week before the playoffs. But they're going to be begging for a bye week in the next few weeks, I think. For me, the MVP was Sullivan. He had 225-yard passing, 3 touchdowns, 20 yards rushing, and 1 touchdown. So Frankfurt have got a juicy game in Poland next week against the Panthers, and the Sea Devils then play the Thunder.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Hamburg offense was, the defense did the best they could, but that Frankfurt Galaxy defense was horrendous, like beating them up. And Jadrian was just not right.
No. But if you think about it, the left tackle, Eubanks, he was injured last week and was playing hurt. Xavier Johnson's come back from injury as well. They just didn't look right at all.
The offensive line was struggling the entire time.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I heard on the commentary that they had to play a D lineman at a starting O-line position because they've got so many injuries.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, a lot of the Sea Devils fans have sort of put it down to them being banged up. That's the reason they've lost this game. And they said don't read into it too much.
Frankfurt were impeccable. They're like,
yeah.
It's not saying that the Hamburg was shit. Like Frankfurt beat them up.
Mm.
It was one of those games that everything clicked for Frankfurt. Everything went right. It was like, oh, look, it's like a little 6-yard run. There's a 20-yard pass. And they were just storming up and down the field. It was nice to watch. Not if you're a Hamburg fan, but
it was good. It was. That Anthony Mahongu guy, he made some unreal catches that game. Yeah, that was It's interesting that Hamburg goes to play Wroclaw because that's kind of 2 top teams that have just had a bit of a wobble. So who wins it?
Mathematically, Frankfurt, I believe, have clinched the playoff spot. Hamburg could actually lose out on a playoff spot.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. So I did bring up at the beginning, Frankfurt have locked in the number 1 seed for the Southern Conference.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, congratulations, Frankfurt.
Yay.
Great team. Final game, Joe.
Yeah, so I had the Kings up against the Surge.
Birdsong taking a shot for Knudel. He's got it. Touchdown. Leipzig only bringing 4. Ellis looking for Geyer, who's got a step and a lot more than that. Geyer makes a cut, and a second guy will wrap him up at the 6-yard line.
This one ended 49-23 to the Kings. The scoreline seems fairly one-sided. The game was even more one-sided. With this, the Kings, now that Birdsong's back, we spoke about it last week, the bloke started 3 games now, quarterback, and he's won all 3. They just look a completely different team. I can't believe I had the Kings as my 8th power ranking team when we did them a few weeks ago. Seems like absolute madness. But this game was it was interesting. You look at the receivers that the Kings do have at their disposal. You know, you've got Nuttall, you've got Dable Wolf, you've got Alpha Jallo, and you've got Weenie, who can all step up and play. But it wasn't just them who stepped up. Their defense was also extremely, extremely solid this game. So sort of just going into a few bits and pieces of the game right at the beginning. The game was actually quite slow. Nothing was really going. Kings nor the Surge could really get anything going. In fact, the game really got underway when there was a punt up to Alpha Jallo, who actually fumbled the ball. The Surge got a short field and went in for a touchdown and took the lead in surprise to a lot of people. However, after that, the Kings did come back very hard. Birdsong, yet again, absolutely flying out the traps. He ended up with 5 touchdowns on the day. Interesting thing about the Kings, I think we mentioned it before, is the fact that they don't actually have a designated kicker. I believe it's a wide receiver who also plays kicker for them. So they seem to go for 2-point conversions pretty much every time if they get the opportunity to, every time they score a touchdown. I think it's, Albright who does their kicks. He's more of a kickoff bloke than a PAT and field goal guy. So they tend to just go for the 2-pointers. But yeah, the Kings scored a series of touchdowns after that first Surge one. Actually, at halftime, it ended up being 22-6 to the Kings. At the second half, the Surge did manage to get a field goal, but after that, it was just pure Kings dominance. In fact, the Kings managed to get halfway through the fourth quarter, and it was 49-9. And 40 points ahead, and they literally just took all their big guns off. Birdsong came off, a Weenie stepped in at quarterback like he did when Birdsong was injured. So not quite the same. Weenie's a decent backup, to be fair to him. He's quick as well, and he can move as a wide receiver. So he had something different. However, it was just too much for the Surge to do, really. Aaron Ellis did seem to be a bit better when he didn't have as much pressure. The poor bloke got sacked 8 times this game. Yeah, so he got beaten up as well quite a bit. There isn't too much specifics that I've got today. It just was a literal Surge took the lead, and the Kings just went and absolutely dominated them. It's just how it was. As I mentioned, they've got all these fantastic receivers at their disposal. They've got good runner in Agamong. So looking at this one, my MVP I've got down. I was tempted to go for Birdsong again, but I'm going to give it to Carl Kitchens. He had 4.5 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. He's a pretty impressive bloke and a real key player for the Kings. I feel like he's gone very much under the radar, but in the last few weeks, he's really pushed himself into this next level. As I say, there were some other good stats. I mentioned Birdsong there, 5 touchdowns for 312 yards. You had Nuttall again turning up for the Kings, 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dable Wolf, 51 yards and a touchdown. Rather quiet day for Alpha Jallo, only had the 14 yards and a 1 touchdown. But, it shows that he doesn't need to show up when he's got all his teammates around him, helping pull that team forward, which is good because he did quite a lot when Birdsong was out injured.
Yeah.
So next week, I believe the Kings have a bye and the Surge go to play the Dragons. Not the best of times to play them.
So what do you think then? A Dragons Leipzig final?
Oh, that would be quality. That would be good fun. The Kings, they are in that position now. We mentioned how the Panthers are going to go play the Galaxy next week.
Yeah.
And the Kings are on a bye. The Galaxy beat the Panthers. That's it. They're level. The Kings. And you look at it, the Kings, I think they're going to be the ones playing the Sea Devils in that championship game if things keep on going this way.
You know what? This is perfect for the league as well, because first couple of weeks you're like, oh, the German teams and Wroclaw are just dominating. But look at it now, 8 weeks in, there's 3 teams are all like, they could do it. They could really do it. Obviously, you've got Frankfurt and Hamburg pretty sat up there solidly at the top. It's shaping out to be a cracking first year.
But the Dragons as well, the Dragons are going to go play the Surge next week. Like, I don't want to tempt fate, but that's a certain win for the Dragons, in my opinion.
A Surgeton win?
I don't do that stuff, Adam. But no, you could, if you want to be fun, you can say that. But it's really wide open. It is really wide open, and who knows what those championship games are going to be.
I'm looking forward to it because I think Frankfurt are clearly the most well-rounded team.
Yes.
But Barcelona, they came within 3 of them or something. Hamburg beat them, granted, when they were kind of warming up. I think Kings, Barcelona, and Centurions on a good day could probably take it to any team.
I think we can tease this. We're going to have a guest on next week who's going to give us a fair bit of insight on what Frankfurt are doing well, I would think. We're not going to mention who it is as yet, but it's going to be a good one.
And
we've also got Keanu Ebanks and Michael Birdsong coming on very shortly.
Those ones too.
Look out for them because they are both top players in the league at their positions.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, do you say the Centurions on a bye, aren't they?
Yes.
Next week. So if the Dragons win, if the Dragons win against the Surge, they have the same amount of wins as the Centurions.
And they've got the tie break.
But they have got one more loss. That is the only thing.
Right.
But yeah, it's but then the Centurions come back and play the Kings. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
Wait, how many teams are on a bye this week? Just 3?
Just one. So this week's fixtures are Berlin are playing Hamburg. That's Saturday it's a 1:00 Central European Time kickoff. Then on Sunday, you've got the Panthers playing Frankfurt, and then you've got the Surge playing Barcelona. They're both 3:00 Central European Time kickoffs.
So the Centurions and Kings are off this week and they play each other next week.
Yep.
Well, I'll be watching that Saturday game whilst I'm at work. That'll be fun. On the laptop. Yeah, I mean, who do we think wins out of those matchups? It's Thunder, Sea Devils. I mean, we'll see what happens there.
That could be interesting.
It's going to be an interesting one.
The Thunder have put points up on the board in certain games, and if Jadrian Clark's just, I don't know, I think Frankfurt literally just dominated to the point that the offense couldn't get anything going. If they can get the offense going against Berlin, which every team so far has, I don't think there's going to be a problem. Yeah,
it was, I guess, as I said, with the game, when they got that fumble recovery, that was it. It was game over. They may as well just call the game there and then, because there was no way anything was happening after that.
Galaxy Panthers, I think, will be a good game because the Panthers will be wanting to prove something. They don't, like you've said, Jeff, that they could very easily lose their playoff spot right now, so they are fighting to survive.
Exactly. It's hotting up very, very nicely.
And then, we got the Barcelona playing Stuttgart.
But you never know. You never know.
Let us know what you think is going to be going on in all the games. Let us know what you want us to talk about. As we said, we're going to start ramping up the NFL content a bit more as that league starts to open up. So if you've got any questions about the teams there, we're going to be doing some predictions soon for the AFC and NFC. We'll get some fantasy football advice out. It's a month today that the NFL kicks off.
Am I right in saying, Adam, that the NFL giveaway we're doing is open to German listeners as well?
Yeah, open to all European listeners.
Because obviously we know that we've got a big audience in Germany, which we really appreciate. So you can be part of this as well.
But yeah, keep your eyes and ears on our social medias for when that comes out. And you can find our social medias at Joe.
Our Twitter and Instagram is at TAFS_UK. And our Facebook is That American Football Show.
And these are all dotted around.